broadcasting on the internet airwaves from the great state of Minnesota. My name is Shaun, and you're listening to The Shaun Tabatt Show. Today, my special guest is Laura Harris-Smith, and we're talking about her new book, The 30-Day Faith Detox, Renew Your Mind, Cleanse Your Body, Heal Your Spirit, which is published by Chosen Books. Now, here's a little bit about Laura. Laura and her husband, Chris, co-founded Eastgate Creative Christian Fellowship, where they've been serving for over a decade. She has worn many hats through the years, which include acting, writing plays, writing poetry, writing books, and even hosting a show on the Shop at Home Network. And on top of that, she's also a mother of 6. Laura, welcome to the show.
I'm tired just hearing about all of those things that I do. Thank you, Shaun. I'm happy to be here.
Now, Laura, when somebody sees a picture of you or meets you in person, they might assume you've always lived out the Faith Detox lifestyle. That's a term I've officially coined today, the Faith Detox lifestyle. That's what I'm living these days. But as you share in the book, and I've heard you share in other interviews, that wasn't always the case. So I'd love for you to share with our listeners the story of how this Faith Detox lifestyle, which you didn't know what it was at that point, how was that suddenly thrust upon you?
Well, let me first say that I am a farmer's daughter and a farmer's granddaughter. So I've always had an appreciation for, eating colorfully. But I think what happened, Shaun, was over the course of my parenthood and, having to prepare for so many people and to do it on a budget. And so you begin selecting at the grocery store those foods that are cheaper. And so many times people will say, well, I can't afford to eat healthy. And now my motto is you can't afford not to. Because what happened to me really was over the course of several years, as I said, it happened gradually. I found that I was eating less and less healthy. And that coupled with everything you just spilled out that I do on a daily basis and very little sleep, I found myself on the brink of adrenal failure. I did not know what was happening to me. I just thought, okay, well, I'm in my late 40s and maybe I'm just slowing down a little bit or whatever, but I have, as both of my parents do, a really strong work ethic and a very strong constitution, and so I just plowed through. I was getting tired a little more easily. I wouldn't say that I was fatigued. I wouldn't say that anybody around me even saw what was going on. The first thing I noticed was my creative edge was missing. I am always creating something, producing something, writing something, editing something. And suddenly, for the first time in my life, I was experiencing what felt like writer's block. That's the only way I know how to describe it. And I was not ever used to having had that. So I just started noticing little things, went in for a checkup, and lo and behold, found out that I had adrenal burnout. Some people call it adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion. I tried to stay away from adrenal fatigue because it sounds so much like chronic fatigue, and it's just two totally different things. But with that diagnosis, I realized, okay, I've got to make some changes. Stage 4 is when all of your organs shut down. Adrenal failure being your adrenal glands are 2 little glands that sit on top of each kidney, and they supply the body with a lot of energy. That's where your adrenaline comes from, and that's where your cortisol, which is what calms you down when you're in a stressful situation. Both of those things are important for fueling our day and our energy and our activity level. And so stage 4 is when that has, completely depleted just about, and your organs are shutting down. And I was in stage 3 and didn't know it. I had gotten in with a Christian nutritionist who takes months to get an appointment with. And I had just made an appointment 3 months earlier just because, I thought, well, maybe this is something that would help. And I got the diagnosis 10 days before this appointment. So providentially, the Lord just had it all laid out. We got right to work on each one of my organs. But I was told, make changes or die. And it was really that nutritionist that helped me use food for medicine. No longer just, oh, well, did you eat a few vegetables today? Or did you drink a little bit of water? Or, but getting serious about which color food I ate, what that did for each organ, and sleep. That was a huge part of it. I was getting like 4 hours sleep a night. So I had to change that drastically. And that's where it started for me. It's amazing to me, Shaun, that out of this entire experience, one day you're fighting for your life and the next day ministry is born, and you're suddenly helping many other people who are in the same situation. And I guess if I could just say anything to the listener right now, it would be, if you are experiencing those symptoms of, your get up and go just feels like it got up and went, or you're losing your edge, your focus, you need to seriously look at the gasoline you're putting into your body, the fuel you're giving yourself to operate in your day.
Well, thank you for telling us a bit about the experience that led to this book. As I've been talking about the 30-Day Faith Detox, especially with different friends on Facebook, people who are all over the country, I'm amazed at the number of people I'm encountering today who are diagnosed with adrenal fatigue or are on the brink, and it almost seems to be like an epidemic. People are working themselves so hard, and they're just doubling and tripling down, but not taking care of themselves. So it's great timing for your book to be out there to be helping people.
Well, let me just say this quickly also. There is another medical term for it that a more conventional medical society uses, and that's Addisons Disease. And President John F. Kennedy had Addisons Disease. And the more I researched this and adrenal issues, he was so sick, they were saying that had he not been assassinated, he would have been dead within a year. His adrenals were worn out. And so he brought some attention to this, but I really think it's been a generation of people that have had to really take their own, I'm going to be careful how I say this because I'm not going to undermine doctors at all, but I always tell my doctor, you have the degree, but I live in my body. And there are a lot more people these days, probably thanks to the internet, who are really in tune with studying what they need. And as a result of that, you do have a community of people who are suddenly aware, oh, I know where my adrenals are, and I don't think they're working. So I think the epidemic is just suddenly awareness of a problem that's been going on for many years, many decades.
Well, and I think, too, people are very busy. They're always on the go. And, it's not to say that people are lazy, but they're just so crunched for time. They go for food that's convenient, food that's fast. And the reality is the things that are sometimes convenient and fast have really deficient nutrition value. It's basically like eating garbage. I mean, there's nothing good about it other than it put food in your stomach and there were some calories in there. People just aren't thinking about that as much as they should be. I know for me, just starting this journey and dropping all fast food, not drinking coffee anymore, it was amazing to look back and think of what I would have normally eaten or said yes to at lunchtime here at work on just a normal week versus now I'm so much more aware of what I'm putting into my body. I didn't even think about it before.
Right. And I would challenge you and anyone listening that once you go through a program, you need to consider something that's called cellular memory. And that is that as soon as you start going back to those unhealthy foods, your body, it will remember, and it will, if it's strong enough, it will revolt. It will manifest with some symptoms that will tell you, please don't go back there. Either, you'll have either bad gas, or some people have flu-like symptoms, or they'll break out, different if you add foods that are unhealthy. But if you're not healthy enough and your body doesn't even have the energy to manifest a symptom, I know that's a strange concept. I couldn't even wrap my brain around it the first time I heard it. But a person who is so sick and who has so abused their body, sort of like a abused dog, it'll just let you kick it and it won't even whimper anymore. Your body sometimes cannot even cry out for help. So it's a good sign that you've made some progress if you reintroduce an old bad food and your body revolts, but listen to your body and don't put it back in there.
That's some good advice. I was at some conferences the other week and we had some limited food choices, and I ate something for lunch that was not on plan that day. And I was just fatigued and tired, and it's like, my body really is revolting. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that.
And my guess is that it included wheat. Did it include a little bit of wheat?
It did.
Okay, yeah, that usually gets me too if I'm somewhere and I'm like, gosh, there's nothing else here. There's nothing available. I remember, in fact, the first time I went back to my nutritionist and said, well, I've done really, really well, except if I was in an event or, at a church gathering or whatever, and there was nothing, and that's all there was. So I went for the thin crust pizza, and she said, Laura, it would be better if you would fast. It would actually be better on your body until you get home at least and can get something healthier. Just abstain. So inch by inch on this journey, I have just been so surprised with, why didn't I think of that kind of thoughts, those moments? But it really is true that if you'll just, you are what you eat. I can't say it any better. You are what you eat.
One of the things that really makes your book unique, a lot of detox and diet books focus strictly on the body, but you take a more holistic approach where you're focusing not only on body, but also mind and spirit. I'd be curious to hear, how did that come out of your journey? Because obviously, with the health changes you needed to make, you had a lot going on that you needed to change in the physical. How did that turn into also having the mind and spirit components when you worked on this book?
Wow, I'm trying to think back to when I did not understand the concept of wholeness and of body, mind, and spirit. You know, God He's Trinity. He's made of three parts. And the book of Genesis says, let us make man in our image. The Trinity was already in action there. Jesus was there. The Holy Spirit was there. And so guess what? We're made of three parts. So I've always had this really keen infatuation with the fact that we must, in order to be whole, nurture all three. But about 10 years actually ago, we had, our church was, about a year old only, and Eastgate had a dinner theater. We did a Christian dinner theater, and it was set around a family radio station. And so, you know, we had all these characters coming in and out, and as new members would join the church, we'd do another one and add more characters. One of the radio shows that we had, boy, you would have loved it, Shaun. It was just a whole play full of different radio shows, and everybody in the cast had their own radio show, and it was set right there in the station. And one of the shows was called BMS. And it was body, mind, and spirit. And it was a doctor and a psychologist, and I can't remember who the other guy was. Anyway, probably a preacher. And so, you know, I would create these little scenarios as the writer of this dinner theater. I would create these scenarios where callers would phone in with a physical ailment, and the preacher would give them advice from Proverbs. You know, like if some guy calls in with arthritis, he'd say, well, you know, envy is as rottenness to the bones. Do you have any jealousy issues in your house or whatever? And so even then I was sort of playing around with the idea, introducing it to viewers as you've got to start realizing that your body is connected to your spirit, is connected to your mind, and you cannot segregate them. You cannot separate them. And so that was really where that started. But as for me personally, I was writing during that whole adrenal fatigue episode. I actually had to go on bed rest for 3 months. And I was writing during that time another book called Seeing the Voice of God. And interestingly enough, Shaun, because I had such poor sleep health, I was getting 4 to 5 hours sleep a night and functioning great. I mean, that's the thing, is that, you know, you can do it, but if you don't go to sleep, your organs will go to sleep for you eventually. So here, all of this explodes. I've got this book contract. I'm interviewing sleep study doctors for the manuscript because I wanted to get that angle in there on dreams. It was a book on dreams. And so I find myself, here I am on total bed rest, and I am offering this medical body side to this very spiritual book on dreams, even psychological, some might say. And I'm bringing in this medical side to it and telling people, here's what you can take nutritionally and vitamins, and here's what you can eat for better dream recall. And it was right after that Cara Carr, who is the marketing director at Baker Publishing, said to me, Laura, I think you have found your branding, because everything you do is body, mind, and spirit. You bring the body in somehow when you're talking about a totally spiritual subject. And so, yeah, I have really flown with that. And out of everything I learned nutritionally came the concept for, really what is my first full body, mind, and spirit book, which is the 30-Day Faith Detox. So it's a lifetime journey, and yet it's really been honed and honed and honed. And I'm so proud, humbled, however you want to say it, at the accumulation of all of that that's just converged in this book. And I really do believe it is a reset button for your body, mind, and spirit.
Well, and that's a good lead into the next question. I think it'd be helpful if you could give the listeners a little bit of context for some of the different areas you cover in the book as we go week by week through the detox. Tell us, what does a day in the life look like when you're doing the 30-Day Faith Detox? So talk to us about the physical, but also what's the mind and spirit component practically as you're dealing with it, going through it day by day?
Well, the whole precipice for the book is there are 30 days. And it is a book on faith, primarily. Let's get that straight. It is a faith detox with a body, mind, and spirit approach. So when somebody says, well, how does faith get toxic? Why does my faith need detoxing? Over the course of your life, you have gone through certain trials, even things that ended really well or triumphs. Maybe it came with a long obedience. And boy, it was just really wearing on your faith. So I assembled what I call 30 common faith toxins to all of us. Maybe it was that you went through a divorce or someone you know did or your parents did. Maybe it was financial problems. Maybe it was, a health-related issue. Maybe it was somebody you prayed for that they would not die, and they did anyway. And it left a mark on your faith. The whole book, the whole context for the book is to assess, the condition of your faith now and how it got where it is. So with those 30 toxins, I had to figure out a way to categorize those. And it was really simple because as pastors at Eastgate, every time someone comes to the altar for prayer, we noticed it was in one of 5 areas. And so I divide the 30 devotionals in the book into these 5 areas, one of these 5 areas. And there's 6 days each that we spend on them. 1 are your finances. 1 are your health-related issues you've been through. 1 are your relationship issues you've been through or are going through. 1 are your social, I call them social influences, but that can be anything from peer pressure to world catastrophic events, the things happening around you that shape you. And then finally, your purpose and identity toxins, your unfulfilled prophecies in life. Why are your prayers not answered? Those type things. So with those 5 areas, we spend 6 days each, and you wake up every day, you do your devotional. It first addresses your spirit. We go to Scripture. We look at how you responded. How well did you come out of that situation you walked through? Is it affecting the way you believe God now for similar situations? And then we just, we go to the Word, and we just really allow the Holy Spirit to minister to you in that place. And then we turn our attention to the mind, to the emotions. And there are healing prayers that are listed there dealing with any residues from that situation you walked through, whether it was grief or anger or bitterness. Then finally we turn our attention to the body, and we will do a correlating body detox. So let's say we're in the section on relationships, and let's say that day's devotion has to do with the topic of loneliness. And we're, talking about the heart. So we would, with that day's spirit and mind, scriptures and emotional prayers, we would detox the heart and the cardiovascular system. So what I'm really excited about is that by the end of the 30 days, you will have completed a total body detox. All 15 major body systems will have been cleansed. So, gosh, I just think, okay, so by the end of these 30 days, it is a total temple cleansing. I tried to leave no stone unturned to help people get a new overcoming faith. And to do that, you can't just remain unhealthy physically, and yet pray through all the prayers and the devotionals. Like, you've got to get all 3 parts on board. And likewise, you couldn't just do the body detoxes and read the scriptures without praying those healing emotional prayers and letting go of your unforgivenesses. So it really is throughout the whole book. It's just one day at a time, tackling your past, your present, getting you ready for your future, a future of greater faith.
Another thing that I think is kind of fun is each section has kind of its own colors for the fruits and the vegetables. Tell us how that came about.
Well, it came about because as I sat down to do all the recipes, which could have had an infinite number of possible combinations, I'm just a really frugal person, and I've had to feed a lot of people all the time, at once throughout the course of my life. And so I thought, I've got to make this economical. I can't just have people go out and buy all of these foods, and then let's say they have some left over, and then next week it's a whole other separate set of foods, and then all these go to bad, go to waste in the refrigerator. So I thought, I've got to somehow create a way that they can use foods throughout the week. And then that played in well with, we are detoxing this certain body system this week. And then I got to thinking, okay, well, in every food, there are phytonutrients. I'm talking about fruits and vegetables here. There are phytonutrients that give, and pigments that give our foods the color that they are. And it's not just whatever, mood God was in that day. He made a tomato red. No, it's because tomatoes contain a red pigment called lycopene. And it's very, very good for the heart. Easy color to remember. Reds are good for the heart. Red grapes, red peppers. So I thought, what if each section had its own color? And while we are dealing with the heart, everything is red. While we are dealing with, so I broke it down into colors in the book. So obviously you have to eat greens all the time. That's plant blood. You've got to get greens in you every day. But I do. I try to create a section color to where that week, if you're on the run and you can't remember, oh gosh, what was I supposed to snack on this week? My support color is orange. All right, I'm going to reach for an orange pepper, or I'm going to reach for an orange. So it was part, honestly, Shaun, it was part frugality, part the revelation of how certain colors minister, I'm going to say it that way, minister to certain body parts. And then, honestly, just the Holy Spirit that brought it all together. And I am glad you asked about that, because I think that makes the book quite unique and hopefully easier on people. Their grocery lists are in the first page of every section. So I just tried to make it easy. You just shop for a certain color each week. Easy peasy. It's like an easy button, hopefully making that process a little less taxing on the brain. And just make it, because if a person like me, I don't even like the kitchen. So I really tried to make it easy.
Well, and I think for me, like, I don't shop a lot. My wife typically takes care of that. So having colors each week as I'm trying to make lists of food to go out and buy was extremely helpful.
Glad to hear that.
So we have a number of questions that we got off of the Facebook, as my mom likes to call it. So about a week ago, I put out a note that I was going to be talking with you and just ask people to ask me some questions. So wanted to share a few of those with you and get some feedback. The first one comes from my most favorite Facebook friend, and that's my amazing wife, Lynette, mother of 9, wife extraordinaire. I'm a big fan of hers. But one of the questions she had, and she actually is just starting the 30-day Faith Detox today with her, and 3 of my teenagers are doing it, which was a lot of fun to see them going on this journey. I've been at this now. This is day 23, so they're just getting started. But we just recently had a baby about 2.5 months ago, so she's nursing. And so her question was, is the 30-day Faith Detox safe to do while you're nursing?
It is, and I have nursed 6 children for 2 years each, and so I am quite in tune with what is good for a baby and what is not. And I can honestly tell you that the way that you eat on the detox is less about radical herbs or things that are going to just really, in a harsh way, detox your system, and more about a gentle cleanse that can become a lifestyle. And as I step back and look at the foods in the detox and how they are fruits and vegetables, it's really, what baby would not benefit from that if someone was pregnant or nursing? Now, we state in the book very clearly, if you are either one of those, pregnant or nursing, please talk to your doctor. But there aren't any herbs that are used in the detox, like I said, that are very stringent. And so, Lynette's concern, when I talked to her about that, was that, but are the toxins going to be so great that are coming out of my system that they'll be there in the breast milk or whatever? And that's really not even the concern, because it's such a gentle cleanse, and especially if you're doing your Epsom salt baths, your skin brushing. I have different methods in there for not just getting the toxins up, but getting them out and off your body, changing your sheets often. When you're in the detox, you need to make sure, because your skin is the largest organ on your body, and it has a million little mouths on it. And so if you're getting rid of toxins, it's coming out in all kinds of places. It's jumping into your urine to get out of your body, And so if you're doing those things, it's not going to be harmful to a baby. And there are a couple of teas that you drink as a nightcap each night, the detox tea. And one of them is milk thistle, and that is actually really good for milk production. It won't create it if you don't already have it. In other words, guys don't have to be afraid of drinking milk thistle. But yeah, all to say, this is really the way I eat all the time. And one day I said to you, I've been doing this for 3 years. It's the 1,000-day detox. And you said, thank you for not entitling the book that. We never would have been able to market it. But it is true. You can eat this way all of the time, and it would be healthy under any situation.
All right. Well, thank you for that answer. Our next series of questions actually come from a good friend of mine, Danica Cooley. She's a homeschooling mom and an author, and she had some very specific and very good questions that I thought would be helpful to share in this interview. So her first question is, does the 30-day Faith Detox work for vegans?
Well, all the smoothies give you the option of 3 choices. Okay, so there's a morning smoothie every morning. And if you want a milk, you can either choose almond milk or regular milk. You can also choose coconut milk. Or if it calls for a water, you can choose regular, filtered water. You can choose aloe water or coconut water. So they have the choice right there for it to be totally dairy-free. There are no yogurts in the smoothies. I talked to one woman who had a latex allergy, a banana allergy. She said, can I use something else besides bananas? And I said, well, you could use yogurt, but the studies are now finding that because of the live cultures in yogurt, which are very healthy for you, that blending them in a blender disrupts and kills them. So it really does you lose that part of that yogurt benefit. But little side note there, vegans wouldn't want that anyway. But, there's really nothing on the entire 30-day period that's not vegan friendly. If you wanted to, it gives you the option of adding an egg in your morning smoothie if you really feel like you need more protein. But other than that, yes, it's absolutely vegan friendly. And if it's not, then you can substitute something else for it. So, and that kind of, I don't know what your next question is, but that kind of springboards into what if somebody doesn't like one of the vegetables or they have an allergy to one of the vegetables? And
the next question was about allergies. So yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, that is one of the other neat features in the way the recipes are laid out is that the reader helps create the recipe. So I have the template, for example, on the Pick 6 soup. You look at your vegetable list that week, which is quite long, and you just choose 6. And so you can totally dodge whatever you're allergic to or whatever, if your mama made you eat pickled beets in 1976 and you just hate beets, I would urge you to try something new. Try it the way I introduced it, a little chunk of it into a smoothie. But if you don't like that, then you can substitute. So that's the way around the allergies, is just to be smart, know your own body, know your own limitations. And again, you help create many of the recipes. The morning smoothies are pretty set in stone, but you could still substitute anything you wanted. But I'm saying those are actual recipes in the book. But the other 2 options of the day, your lunch and your dinner, and even your snacks, you get to choose. So there's a Take 5 stir fry where you choose whichever 5 veggies you want to put in there. And even the juicings, you get to choose in the juicings whichever vegetable you want to put in there. So that was another really cool idea that I was glad the Lord gave me, because I feel like it gives the reader some flexibility. Did you find that? Have you felt that way over the last 23 days?
Yeah, well, I mean, what I really liked about it is I can choose the fruits and vegetables that I really like and have just kind of stuck with those. Not to say that I won't try new things, but if I'm going to eat a lot of it for 6 days, I'm probably going to stick with the stuff that I really enjoy the most. Kind of a choose your own adventure when it comes to working out those recipes. And I love those books as a kid, so that really works for me.
Well, yeah, and that's like those remotes. You get to choose your alternate endings on the DVD. You can kind of choose your own recipe. I call them templates for the most part, but yeah, you can choose. Totally, the power's in your hands.
All right, well, Danica's last question was, is the 30-day Faith Detox glycemic index friendly for people who have, want to be looking for things that are carb-free or low in natural sugars?
Right. Well, there's no sugar at all in this. Now, there are natural sugars because fruits have natural sugars in them. So you are going to have to know your own limitations. And if you know you have a certain threshold you're not supposed to go over daily, then stay under that. But I am a huge proponent of stevia. It is 0 calorie. It's not going to have that large, that glycemic index spike. And it is 200 to 300 times sweeter than sugar. I had somebody write me, I guess it was last night, from South Africa, and said, I got too much stevia in my smoothie and it tasted really bad. And I'm like, well, it's not equal, spoonful for spoonful with sugar, because it is so much sweeter and therefore lasts so much longer and therefore is cheaper in the end. So stevia is so sweet. Gosh, I wish the stevia plant had been discovered before sugarcane, because we would all now be sweetening things with stevia and would not have gotten addicted to this horrible, sugarcane plant. So with stevia, like I said, it's 0 calorie, and some manufacturers are even taking it's a plant. Some manufacturers are even taking the plant leaves and putting them in tea bags so that your tea brews sweet. I literally cannot take sugar anymore. After 3 years of being on stevia, it is so sweet to me, and it does not have that chemical taste that, artificial sweeteners do, which are not good for your liver, by the way. Yes, I nudge people towards that. You can have honey. I do offer a couple of alternatives in the book if you just don't like stevia, but it's not going to be, listen, eating this way is going to be the best thing for somebody who has sugar issues or diabetes. But again, just working with your doctor, making sure you call them and saying, hey, I know you're going to be proud of me for eating more fruits and vegetables, so I want to start on this journey, but is there any food that you think I need to stay away from? And I think that would just be the best solution for someone with an extreme situation with sugar.
Well, and I'll say too, with smoothies, I typically am not even adding the stevia into the smoothies because with the fruit that is in most of them, they're fairly sweet already. So you're going to have to sweeten it to taste, but I haven't even added it except into a couple of the smoothies at this point.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just a paradigm shift. Once you change your palate, and somebody asked me one time, why was this a 30-day concept? Because it really only takes 21 days to set a new habit. And we tossed around the idea of it being a 40-day, the 40-day Faith Detox. Well, in 30 days, if you'll just invest 1 month in yourself, you can really change your palate and not want to go backwards. Again, you'll have cellular memory where your body will be like, oh, I remember this. You may gravitate towards it or it may seem, really great. But at this point now, if I put something with sugar, I can detect it. I can detect sugar in things. And I remember about 6 months after I'd been eating this way, I had a birthday party and there was pizza there. I can't remember how that happened, but pizza and Coke. And I was like, it is my birthday and I am going to have a piece of pizza and a Coke. I could not even make it through it. It was so sweet. I felt like I was drinking syrup. So yeah, you'll make some changes and they will stick with you if you're dedicated.
Well, and I think one of the things that's helpful about having it be for 30 days is often when people are looking at a diet change or doing a detox, they will often say, well, I'm going to start on February 1st. There's some of the conversations I've been having on Facebook over the weekend. A bunch of people started it today. And so, the 30 days, it seems attainable. You can think of doing this for an entire month. So I think that was a good choice and has worked out fairly well.
Yes, I do too. And you don't have to do it at the top of the month. If you want to give yourself a birthday gift or get in shape for your birthday, just go back a month. And if your birthday is May 25th and say, hey, I'm going to start this on April 25th and then I'm going to celebrate on my birthday I'm going to buy myself a new outfit because I undoubtedly am going to lose weight. That has really been the cool part of this, is seeing how many people are losing weight. So definitely 30 days, it's a good investment in yourself.
All right. And our last Facebook question here. Good friend of mine, Michael Bowling, was asking a couple days ago, how do you get motivated for exercise? What would be a good exercise if you're not normally doing it? For me, I'm pretty obsessive about running, so I've been running a ton while I've been doing the detox, but I don't expect other people to go out and run 6 miles every day because they're not crazy like me. So my recommendation to Michael is if you're not used to doing a whole lot, start out with 15 minutes of walking every day or different things like that. So I'm curious if you've had other people ask about, do I do exercise while I'm doing the detox? What has been your experience with that and what would be your advice?
You're going to see greater results if you do. Can I just ask, how much weight have you lost in 23 days, Shaun?
Well, I gained 0.4 pounds overnight, so I'm I'm at 17.4 pounds at this point.
17.4 pounds. That is amazing. Okay. So I would say that in large part, that is due to the fact that you are exercising. However, I'm talking to people from all over the world who are shedding lots of weight really fast, even though there's so much water you have to drink on this thing, so it's not water loss. There's so much protein you have to eat every day, so there's not muscle loss. And what I think is happening is these people, they're not all exercising. So I think it's that they're eating the right foods at the right time of day that's kickstarting their metabolism. The no thanks list is huge. If you'll just stay with that, you'll lose weight and keep weight off. There's 2 lists in it, a yes please, which you can eat from indefinitely and liberally, and then there's the no thanks list. Amongst all the people who are doing everything perfectly, yes, the exercisers are seeing a little more benefit, but it's not exclusive. That's not totally necessary. I personally would recommend it because, after all, we want to get you healthy. This isn't just about weight loss. And yes, walking is a great alternative. It's free. you're going to plateau there pretty quickly. You need to power walk. You need to really start burning some. If you think about it this way, sweat is a great way to get toxins out of your body. So if you'll sweat, if you'll make a mental note to at least attain sweating at that level when you're exercising, then you can know that you're really helping that detox process. I've got a girl, though, who I'm very close with, and she is very overweight, and in her 20s cannot even, she has arthritis so bad, her joints are in such bad shape because of the excess weight that she can now not exercise. And I've been talking to her about this since she was late teens. If you don't make changes, you're pretty soon not going to be able to exercise. And now here she is. So I suggested to her, couch girls, there's all kinds of different exercise routines you can do sitting down on your couch, upper body, and then just slowly lifting the legs to where what you're doing is you're building muscle gradually in those legs that can then support the bones and joints. And pretty soon you will be up on your feet exercising. But get moving somehow. And I'm really proud to say that yesterday she told me she's only been doing the detox, the book has been out for not even a month, and she's already lost 16 pounds. And that is solely from sticking to the diet and just doing what little bit of exercise she can. So I hope that will encourage people. Yes, just get moving somehow.
That's very encouraging. I think people they don't know what to expect if they've never done something like this before. So when they see that weight start to come off, there's a lot of motivation there and they're pretty excited.
Yeah, that's been exciting to see for sure.
Well, and this is a good lead into the next question. Like you said, the book's been out for about a month now. For you, what have been some of the biggest surprises as you've been interacting with the readers?
It has to be the weight. Listen, I knew that eating healthy would help us find your cheekbones and your hip bones again, as I say in the book. I had no idea that people would lose this much weight. In the interview about a week ago, I think it was with Susie Larson, I said something about how, this is off the mic, so I'm trying to walk that fine line between, wow, this is so shocking, people are losing so much weight, and I knew this would happen. This is what happens when you eat healthy, you know. And I said, which one should I do? How should I position myself? Because I don't want it to seem like people are, that this is, I never thought it would happen, because that's not true. But it's a little bit of both. I am really grateful to God that I can put a book out there who, let's just say even on Amazon, it's climbing in these secular categories like juices and smoothies and detoxes and cleanses, and in the top 3 and on their Amazon bestseller list. And yet it's a faith book. So it's shocking to me. The weight loss is shocking to me, not necessarily because I didn't believe in the recipe and the regimen. I did. But because it's a book primarily on getting your faith back in a right standing relationship with God so that you can receive more. So I feel like the weight loss is, along with the reader or whoever's going through the detox, he or she and I are equally pleasantly surprised together to see that it's just a cherry on top, that they are losing weight. And you're right, that is really motivating. When you see several pounds come off in that first week, you realize this is not only working, this is something I need to incorporate into every day. And so that's the second thing, is that I am seeing people who are, I think they start out thinking, I can do this for 30 days. And then somewhere in the first week, they realize, wait, this is how I'm supposed to live. So maybe not to the extreme where, you're having detox tea every night of your life and that type thing, but that you are incorporating these things in and sticking with your no thanks list. That would be marvelous if people would pretty much live that way. But I have, and I do, and it is not a heavy yoke at all. I love to eat, and I just have had to learn to make things with different ingredients is all. Different sweetener and a different flour, and that's really what that's about. So I think that's been the biggest shock, is everybody that's losing so much weight. And then the second one just being that people are saying, I don't want to stop doing this. This is really healthy for me, and I can feel my body thanking me.
I'll give a little testimonial here for my experience too, just talking with my family yesterday. My wife would say, and some of my older children would say, that I'm a lot more pleasant to be around while I've been on the detox. I'm not sure exactly the level to which I was unpleasant all the time before, but I'm
definitely daddy detox.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely less on edge and just calmer. I think of how I lived on coffee pretty much before and was always trying to stay alert. I feel just very chilled out would be a good way to describe me these days.
You know what? And I am not anti-coffee. I know that there are some coffee lovers out there who probably bristle at that idea of giving up coffee. I've not given up coffee, but I invest in good decaf. And I have 3 children who were baristas. One still is. And we have an endless supply of coffee at our house. So this is not something we've taken out of our lifestyle. It's just a little bit of a shift. Even my husband, who I always say he's a coffee snob. I mean, this guy has equipment, okay? He spends 17 minutes on each cup of coffee in the morning doing this pour-over regimen from France. It's crazy. But now he's just had to make that shift in preparation for he's about to go through the detox.
Yay.
We're taking our entire church through it. Yeah. And so now 2 weeks in, he's been off of all coffee, all caffeine, and he feels great. He had one really grumpy day. I had to look at him and say, are you mad at me or am I just handy? Like, what's going on? You don't seem like yourself. But now that he's on the other side of it, the really cool part about doing this while you're on the detox is that it's going to be less of a harsh transition because you've got so much good fuel in you from the recipes. And on that one day, he was having a hard day. I said, hey, can I make you a brain-boosting banana chocolate chip smoothie? Because it's got the olive oil and the dark chocolate in it and so many things that are great for your brain. And he was like, yes, let's do it. And then he was just calm as a cucumber. So if you will look at it like that, coffee lovers, if they will look at it like that the idea is to just no longer be propped up on a stimulant. Let your body do its job and prop you up, and then find a way, if you're just a lover of the taste of coffee itself, to incorporate that into your life in a decaffeinated version. It's possible.
That's encouraging to know that it's possible. And I have had a little bit of decaf coffee here and there, but I'm kind of an all or nothing sort of person. So I look at drinking decaf coffee and I'm like, well, what's the point? I'll just drink more water. So not to say I won't drink decaf coffee in the future, but I definitely don't want to go back to caffeine. I feel like I have a lot more focus these days. So it's just going to keep going forward. I know you worked on a bunch of things. Obviously, I've been a part of this project for the past year because I do work for Chosen Books. Would love to have you tell us about some of the different support resources that you have available for your readers as they go through the 30-day Faith Detox.
Well, Shaun, as I have really looked at the competition, I think that's a healthy thing to do. There are a lot of good books out there that can help you get healthy. But I really felt like I needed to give people more than paper and ink to get that winning advantage. So I'm offering online help. There is a hidden link in the back page of their book that they can go to and sign up on their day one of their detox. As they sign up there, they'll get encouraging emails from me. And on that same page are 30 videos. I've made a video, one a day for each of your day of your journey. And I've shot them from my own kitchen. Every one of them is of me going over one of the recipes for that day. And I love having fun with people. I love interacting with people. And so they're just, there's just a conversation with you is really what they are. And then we deal just a little bit, we sort of touch on that day's devotional. And so it's a resource. I felt like it would provide some visual stimulation for people. And then, like I said, I do like it that they can sign up and they can receive some encouragements from me with the top of each section. So, yeah, I do provide those. And like I said, the book, once you get the book, it's on the last page of the book. I'm actually in my author bio. So you can go to that link, find it, sign up, and I'm calling that the 30-Day Faith Detox Challenge. So I want people to take the challenge, and I will be there right alongside with them. I really like to try to connect with readers.
Well, and I would just encourage the listeners, if you're going to go out and buy the book and join us here on the 30-Day Faith Detox journey, do the challenge, you're going to want to get those videos. One of the things I really like about it, I mean, I know Laura personally, but you all don't, so it's going to give you a chance to feel like you're connecting with her and you're hearing from her, and like she said, there's going to be a lot of encouragement, but I think it's really going to give you a better experience as a reader. I mean, you're going to probably eventually have Laura's voice in your head as you're reading the book, but, I would just encourage you to do that.
I hope that's a good thing. Yeah, I felt like I'm an encourager, and so I just felt like it was one more way, because maybe, let's say this person, they are in a family that eats trash. They will have no other support. Maybe they're the only person at their church that's interested in body, mind, and spirit. Maybe it's a mom who she can only afford to do this for herself, can't really afford to do it for her children yet, she doesn't think, which I would take them to task on that, because the money that you will save in sicknesses and doctor bills and time off work, it pays to eat healthy. But those people need some support, and I really did want to. It's the next best thing to me, being able to sit with you in person, is to provide those extra tools for them. And then also just to remind the readers, I am praying for them. My goal is to pray every single day. Maybe that's the reason that there's been so much success in even under a month, because I'm praying for my readers, and I'm praying that they will get healthy body, mind, and spirit. That's the goal, body, mind, and spirit.
Well, I'm on day 23, and you've kind of answered this question already, but I'm going to throw it out there as we begin to wrap up here. So I'm 23 days into my Faith Detox journey or my Faith Detox lifestyle. I'm going to keep using that now. I might have to coin a new hashtag later this afternoon when I post something. But, where does somebody go from here? Obviously, I'm really excited and want to stick to a lot of the dietary changes I've made. Also, to follow up on that, would there ever be a benefit to go through and do the full 30-day detox regimen a second time, say 6 months from now? So,
yes, or if let's say you start having some lung issues, well, then just go to the day where we're detoxing the respiratory system, and just camp out there, for a while until you see some improvement. And you can always work with your doctor or your nutritionist on this and let them know. It's giving you that extra advantage. And I'm not even saying you shouldn't be on medications for things. What I'm saying is that the body, when given the chance, has been designed by God to heal itself. And Shaun, Chris and I pastor a Spirit-filled church. We believe in the gifts of the Spirit. We pray for people. When people come to the altar for healing, boy, we pray it down. But I got so weary of people coming and having issues in their body, and me saying, for instance, this one man, he has all these digestive issues. So I prayed for him, and these horrible test results he'd just gotten back for his stomach and ulcers and all this other with his intestines. And I said, so can I ask, what do you eat? And he said, trash. Okay, so you're not a billy goat. Okay, so you can't eat trash. I will pray for you every time you come up here, but at some point you've got to cooperate with God for divine health. So I would say that for somebody who, is really wanting to continue in this lifestyle, just do it and stay with as many of the items in the program as you can. But then definitely, if you encounter health issues anyway, go back, look it up, what section that you were in. Maybe it was your reproductive system, or maybe you need an extra nudge with your lymphatic system. Whatever it is, you will have at your fingertips an extra edge to be able to really help your body heal. The foods are designed to pamper each organ, each body system. And I'm really excited about that. I can't tell you enough, just even in my own household, how excited I am that my kids know, okay, well, maybe I need to reach for some red grapes this week. And they understand the concept of which color nourishes which organ. So it's no longer, we've crossed that hump of, oh, I want hot Cheetos, or, oh, I want just a bar of milk chocolate. Now it's, what does my body need? And their bodies actually crave healthy things. So I hope that answers your question. I think people will get to the end of the journey and they'll really want to not get off of it. I think they'll want to stay on this path. But should things happen and body crises arise, they will have at their hands a forever manual, really, that will baby step them through any illness.
No, that's a great answer to the question. I think of myself here in about a week finishing up the 30-day Faith Detox, and I really don't want to go back to what I was eating and how I was living before, so I definitely plan to keep on keeping along, as they say. Now, Laura, if the listeners want to connect with you, find out more about your books, where's the best place for them to find you on the web?
Well, they can go to my website, which is lauraharrissmith.com, lauraharrissmith.com, and there on that homepage, even you'll see the mason jars full of smoothies. You can just click there and find out how to take the challenge. So you can connect with me there, but then also on Facebook, I am at facebook.com/Laura Harris Smith page. And I like to hear people, some of my readers message me there. I get messages every day from all over the world, people wanting to know this or that, or advice on, this food versus that food. And I try to answer the best that I can. I really want to help people with their journey. So you can go there to Facebook. I will say that during the challenge, and I talk about these on the video when you get your book and get that hidden link on the last page of your book, I talk about in the videos how I'm actually doing some giveaways. In the video, I'm wearing different aprons and T-shirts, and we're actually giving all of those away. So to do that, to enter for that, whenever you are on your detox challenge and you are wanting to, let's say, post a pic of you with a smoothie or of you with your weight loss or whatever it is, then you're just going to add this hashtag to your photo, hashtag Faith Detox, and it's going to make you a part of that conversation that's trending about the 30-day Faith Detox, and I will choose winners there from those pictures. So there's several different ways to connect with me. Most people start by going to my website at lauraharrissmith.com.
All right, well, it's time to bring this episode of the Shaun Tabatt Show to a close. Many thanks for being a part of my conversation today with Laura Harris-Smith. Once again, our book today was the 30-day Faith Detox. And for more on Laura, be sure to check out her website, which you'll be able to find at lauraharrissmith.com. And you can also find out more on her publisher's website, which is available at chosenbooks.com. Laura, I just want to say thanks so much for sharing with us today. It's always a great pleasure to speak with you.
Shaun, you too. Thanks so much.
And that's all for this episode of the Shaun Tabatt Show. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion, you can connect with me via email using show@shauntabatt.com. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, where I go by the Twitter handle @stabatt. And if you enjoy the show, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. Until next time, this is your host, Shaun Tabatt, signing off.